All right, and we're doing the slate in 3, 2, 1, slate. Okay, let's hope that worked. Hi, folks, it's Zach, and welcome back to my gaming channel. And today we're talking about Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which is probably my most favorite phone app game that's available to date. If you like Final Fantasy, then this really is a good game for you. You can take it anywhere you go, you can play it anywhere you like. Now, I do have a proviso though, and this is for all my new viewers. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, or you haven't heard me talk about Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, you're in luck. This is the first video I'm doing for it, so you're on the ground floor. But you also need to know, I'm not a whale in this game. Now, if you're new to the game entirely, a whale is the term for somebody who comes into a gacha game like this, and a gacha, G-A-C-H-A, gacha game is basically, it's all about gambling. So even though it's a Final Fantasy game and it has its main cast of characters, a huge portion of this game is summoning new units, and that is all done through random number generator summons. And you might have a better odds of getting a particular unit or so, but basically there's always some new unit that's coming up. There's always some new hot thing to get. There's a power creep involved, and the way the game makes money is, even though it's free to play, it is trying to get players expendable income and players to invest into the game. So you always have to keep that in mind. Now, what I am is a free to play player. I don't spend money on this game, and so a lot of what you're going to hear me say in these videos is more geared to the free to play player. A lot of the other YouTube content creators out there, God bless them, they have their their viewers support them, financially in some ways to help play the game. And I may open up that option as well eventually down the road. If you feel like supporting me, I do have a PayPal account, and we'll probably be setting up a Patreon later on for my YouTube channel. But for right now, I am a free-to-play player, and most of my videos come at the game with that lens. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit to the news that is coming up. Now, one of my biggest gripes that I had with MMOs, and I love MMOs, is that it just takes a long time for new content to come out. And one of the great things about mobile apps is that new content is coming out all the time. So this is actually an event that just came out a few weeks ago. I mean, not even that long ago. It's a side story event. You have the main story quests of the main units in the game, and that's part of the world. But there's also these side stories that they do. And there's cool equipment and lapis, which is the currency for the game, and other things that you can get to buff up your characters. And this side story event is going to unlock a couple extra stages for us in the next couple days. And these side stages will have crysts. It's really hard to say without slurring my S sounds. So I hope you'll forgive me. It's also been a very long day as I've been testing out the webcam and trying some new programs. By the way, one of which is a power mirror, which you'll see the watermark for on the bottom of my phone app screen. That's the program I'm using. It's a free program, so I do have a little bit of a watermark there. But anyway, I've been testing out a lot of this stuff, and that's why we've had the day we've had. Anyway, the crysts, as I hope that doesn't come out too slurry in the video, they are used to power up your character. So there's certain abilities that can be powered up on certain units, and this is how you're going to go ahead and do that. This is the best way to farm these, by the way. All it costs you is energy, so you just go in, you fight through the battles, you collect the crisps, and you're done. Crysts. Not crisps, crysts. Okay. I swear to God, my addiction gets worse and worse throughout the day. Next up, we've got a 10+1 summon. These are really handy, folks. It's 11 free units. All you got to do is log in and grab them. All there is to it. Really nice. And there's 2 units that you have an increased drop rate on for this particular summon. There's a couple different summons going on right now, by the way. I'm just going to hop over to this on my phone. So there's the free 35 million downloads worldwide 10+1 summon. If you haven't grabbed it, grab it. You get one free one. There's also a free daily summon that's going on right now, where you get 1 unit per day plus a 5% trust Moogle to a trust mastery. And if you guys are new to the game, a trust mastery, every unit that you can get in the game has a trust mastery, which is an item or a materia, something that you can equip onto a character to make them stronger. And usually they're pretty good. The best gear in the game really comes through trust masteries. So having a free daily summon with a trust mastery Moogle, something that helps them increase their trust mastery to get that reward, is pretty nice. Those are the 2 big ones that I'd want to point out right now. Let's go back to the news really fast. And so there'll be one more on the banner after maintenance on Thursday. So Friday morning, you can log in and grab that 10+1 summon, and that's really cool. Next up in news, we've got a new event coming at us, and this is another farming event. So the game, when they release a lot of new content, a lot of times it's in the form of farming events. And that's not such a bad thing. When you're racing so hard to get particular units and buff up your whole team, then these farming events are actually pretty handy. You could get all the different, items that you need to buff up your party later on. One of the things that I've been doing right now is raiding like crazy and doing all the different farming events, because I know in the future there's certain 7-star units that I'm going to want, and to power them up all the way to their final level, it takes an insane amount of cactuars and experience to do it. So you farm now while you have the opportunity, and then you can get those units up to where you want. Now for this particular farm event, there's one thing I want to point out, and that is for this beginner level no items qualification. If you do the beginner level mission and you use no items, you get a 5-star select summon ticket. That is an insanely cheap way to get that ticket. If you get 10 of those tickets, you can pick a 5-star unit of your choice. I can't emphasize, as a free-to-play player, how important that is. Instead of spinning the wheel on the random number generator, you get to pick the unit that you need if you get 10 tickets. Invaluable. Go after this. Just don't think about it, just do it. Let's scroll down the list a little bit, and what we'll see here is a picture of the boss. Now, the cool thing about this boss is that this was actually designed by a player, which I think is really cool. That's kind of the fun part about the FanFesta units. There was a contest, players came up with their own ideas for units, and then here you go. In the game, we get to fight this unit. And if we read up a little bit about this boss, I don't think this is going to be terribly difficult to kill. I could be wrong, but from the description it says here, it's weak against light element, and everybody has got a lot of different light element options to use to kill them. I mean, they were practically handing out Excaliburs like M&Ms a couple months ago for one of the raid events. I'm sitting on 3 Excaliburs. Only one of them I got through a TMR, and that was a long time ago. I don't even remember where I got the other 2. So trust me, this is very, very doable. And it also says bring magic attackers, which might mean that this boss has really high defense. Don't know, but just going off of experience, I'm going to say that if you have some pretty high-powered physical DPS, they could probably muscle through it. Just give it a shot. You got really nothing to lose. Bring some light elemental swords, let them chain together, and just see what you got. Also, it says to protect against stone. That's pretty easy to do, too. Bring, like, a magic tanker. I would recommend, if you're a free-to-play player like I am, then my favorite unit was Mystea. Sometimes people call her Mystere because that's the Japan version. It's spelled M-Y-S-T-E-A, so I always say Misty or Mystea. That's how I just like to say it. But she's one of my favorite tanks. She's really easy to get. She shows up a lot. If not her, then Schilt. And both of them have a move. She has one called Clear Veil, and he has an equivalent, which just basically prevents the whole party from taking status ailment attacks. If you have somebody better, one of the other magic tankers that came out, like 7-star Rain, I did get 7-star Rain. He was one of the unit of choice guys I got, and he has Purification. So there's ways you could block stone. You can equip gear to be anti-stone. You can use a magic tanker who can prevent stone. There's a lot of options there. Anyway, none of this gear is really blowing my skirt up, to be perfectly honest. All this stuff is really low level. However, if you are just coming into the game, you might want to grab it. When I first got into the game, the 2 things I focused on the most were events like these, where they just handed you gear for showing up and doing a little bit of work, and when you are looking to build up gear and you don't have access to a lot of TMRs yet, this is a really good way to get gear. Now, if you've been in the game for a long time, I've been playing the game for a little over a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years now, then this is not such a great option. I have a lot of stuff that's better than this. So you're not going to see me get too excited about this gear, but I would mention the materia here at the end. I think this is going to be a little bit on the lower side. I'm thinking this is probably maybe 15% attack power boosts on the katana proficiency and spiritual proficiency. And I'm only saying that because Demonic Might here and Demonic Mind have a 15% attack power and a 5% damage attack buff against demons, where if a true killer ability has somewhere to 30 to 50%, and most of the attack and magic buffs that we're looking for in materia are around 30 to 40%. So these look like weaker versions of those, starter versions, if you will. That seems pretty fair. So I'm willing to bet that these guys here are probably around 20% attack buff and spirit buff when you're using those things. Okay, let's take a look at the last announcement, saving the best for last. I probably should have started with this one, but this is probably the one I'll end up talking on the most. So, give me with a grain of salt. Okay, so we have 2 new units, and these are FanFesta units. This is Beryl and Elsperis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the comment area below. Feel free to tell me off there. And what we have here is that they're going to be coming at us on Friday the 16th. That's this Friday. And we're going till Thursday the 29th. That's, about 13 days, almost 2 weeks. And here's the catch, though. Now, if you listen to a lot of the other major YouTubers for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I'm talking guys like Clay Cusalt, who I really admire, really, really great YouTuber. By the way, I should put a link in the description for his channel too. Really awesome guy. He's got a really good following. The other guy I would recommend is Howl. Both of these guys do great videos for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's one of the main things that they do. I'm trying to branch out into a lot of different things, and so we approach these things from different angles. I'm coming at it as the free-to-play player, bare bones. I don't want to spend money on this, unless there's unless I had spare money, which is pretty tight. They come at it as the professional YouTuber, so they have Patreons and support. They can invest more into Lapis, and they can do the big summons and the summon competitions and all of that. I really can't, so I'm really marketing this towards you guys who are a little bit more in my boat. It's really fun to watch their videos, but the way that they evaluate units sometimes comes from the idea that you have a lot of other 7-star characters, or the ability to get 4 of these characters to get their STMR, and then that is what makes this character valuable. Now for me, I look at it from more of a cost-effective point of view, and for me, I would say if you're a free-to-play player, I would skip these units. Only because the expense to get them for what you get just seems to be way blown out of proportion. And I know there are better units coming. There are always better units coming. And in our case, a really superior DPS is coming in the form of Jekt in a few months, probably early 2019. And I believe 2 of the Final Fantasy 14 units are coming out soon. Not Final Fantasy 14, excuse me, Final Fantasy 7 units. I believe Tifa and Eris. One of the 2 of them is supposed to be slated to come pretty soon, and one of the 2 of them is just unbelievably godlike good. I think Eris is the next level healer, but I think Tifa's the one who comes out first. So here's the thing. These 2 units here, they're kind of a gamble. Beryl is a magic tanker, and Esperis is a damage dealer. Now, the problem with Beryl that I see right off the bat is that as a magic tanker, her the thing that a lot of people are evaluating her for as being really good is that supposedly she does magic damage somewhere in her toolkit and in her tool set. So she has this super TMR that is the Fallen Angle. I don't know if that's a typo. It's supposed to be Fallen Angel. I don't know. Check me on that. But it has this whopping amount of stats. The problem I see with it, though, as a free-to-play player, is that the super TMR for her is really only good for her. Okay, attack plus 10, magic plus 142, spirit plus 142, light and dark plus 40%. Really awesome, actually, for almost any magical tank, but, as for like a damage dealer, you could probably throw it on a 7-star Rem, and that's about it. Now, it's good, but do I want to spend 25,000 Lapis or more to try to get 4 of this character to get it? I say no, especially because the base unit, it's not a DPS, it's a magical tank. If you have one really good magical tank, that's basically all you'll really need. That's the thing about tanks, they really don't lose their effectiveness over time in the power creep quite at the same rate that DPS do. So this is just my opinion, but I would say these 2 units are kind of skippable. Their special abilities here too are pretty cool, but both of them deal with death. Alright? So Born to Die is the special whiz-bang 7-star move that Beryl gets, and what you'll see is that basically they pull all the attack, defense, magic debuffs, and all of the elemental debuffs onto Beryl as a unit, kills that unit, resurrects that unit, and heals your party for some HP and MP. Now, that's kind of a neat utility and a really kind of a different mechanic. What I don't like about it, though, is that your tank is your chief damage mitigator. If you have a magic tank in that fight, you are going to be taking magic damage, and to kill that unit probably stops them from using their energy wall move or whatever it is that's putting them out there to block all that incoming damage for a turn. So on the next turn, you either have to start their rotation over again, or maybe you're risking taking a hit, or that tank maybe can do an energy wall, but they're missing their buffs now, that they had, and now you have to take another turn to rebuff them. And I don't know, there's just this part of me that always gets a little wiggy when it comes to killing off a unit to do their move. Unless it's a DPS and you're looking for a one-turn knockout, in the case of 7-star Olive, really good example. So many one-hit kill videos are based off of using Olive at max level, and sacrificing herself. So that works there. For this, I'm a little bit more squeamish, because if you're bringing tanks to a fight, you're expecting a long fight. Elspirus, I don't like her for the same reason I don't like Beryl. It's a huge investment for a dubious quality item. If you talk to some of the other YouTubers or you listen to their videos, they talk about Vampirism, the super TMR for Elspirus, as if it's the second coming of Christ. It's not that great. I've heard some people say it's broken. I don't think so. I look at this, the projections for Vampirism are that the attack boosts that you get are 30% for clothes and 30% when you're equipped with a katana, which is a max of 60% of a buff. That's pretty darn good, but you have to be wearing clothes and you have to be equipping a katana. Alright, I look at that. Most of the high-end buffs for attack will usually go around 40 to 50%. So 60% is something to smile about. That's pretty good. But again, what do you have to invest to get it? Well, to get even one of these units, you're having to go up to guarantee a unit, have to do the 5-step banner at least, through all 5 steps. That's 25k lapis. That's to get one. You can go through the whole thing 3 times. That's 75k lapis. Now, maybe you got 1 or 2 of them or both of them in between that journey. You might have gotten them in the 11 summons during the different steps. I don't know. But if you talk to guys like Clay Kuzalt, he spent over 400,000 lapis trying to get Fate and never got him. And then there's me. I did a 10+1 summon and 2 tickets. I got 3 Fates. I got 2 on the 10+1 pull and 1 on a ticket summon. And I love the guy, and he and I will both say straight to your face in our videos, that's the essence of the gamble here. And I just do not think that this is worth that gamble. Here's the way I see it. If you're a free-to-play player, just play the game. Have a good time. Get the nitty-gritty 4-star units, and when you get some good 5-star units, try to build them up. Get them up to 6-star, get all the good 4-star units up to 6-star, and base your strategies off of that. When it comes to these things, only worry about it if for whatever reason you have already accumulated 3 or 4 of these characters. So in my case, just through regular summons, just by accident, just through 5-star tickets when they came my way, I ended up getting 4 Aileens. Aileen was my lady. I love Aileen. And unfortunately, she just doesn't chain with as many people as she should. So I had 4 Aileens. But what was cool then was that when her ability, when she got her 7-star awakening finally, I was immediately able to just go and grab her Trust Mastery, her Super Trust Mastery, which I have on my Hio here. And it's amazing. It's this guy here. It's the Scanning Goggles, really high attack power in the head, and then 4 different killer abilities. Bam, right there on him. You also can mix in another killer ability off of either a weapon, materia, and his Esper, and I mean, he will go to town on somebody. So that was a really, really good TMR to get, but not because I went out of my way to get it, but because it found its way over to me. And that's what I recommend for you guys. If you're a free-to-play player, when you hear all these other YouTubers talking about this is the next great thing, or oh, this thing is really broken, really take that with a grain of salt. First, look and see, what do I have to invest to get that item? And if it's something like a Super Trust Mastery, you are gambling heavy, my friend. Super heavy to get that. I find your best bet is to go after regular TMRs, use Trust Moogles, farm missions if you need to. Man, I'm sitting already on a ton of Trust Moogles. I know I'm not even close to, not even close to what other people have for their Trust Moogles. I just need to just pick somebody so you can just see this here. So I'm just sitting on a bunch. I could do a couple TMRs right off the bat. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just collecting them. I save them up for the item that I actually need, and then that way you have them and you're ready to roll. And a bunch of these guys are leveled up, I think, to like 10 instead of just 5. Yep, there we go. So I have them merged and ready to rock and roll. Guys, don't feel like you need to spend $1 million on these things because other YouTubers have. Really keep it within your budget. Have a really great time. You can still clear tons and tons of content just by what comes your way naturally. And when it comes to units like this, I don't really see them as worth it. If you get them, they will probably end up being a pretty decent unit, maybe even a really great unit. But I don't think this is something to chase after, especially with other things that are coming up later. So anyway, guys, that is the news that we have coming out for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius right now. If you like this video and you enjoyed hearing me talk about it, please like and subscribe. We'll keep doing more of these, and hopefully within the next couple days, I'll tackle up the bonus missions that I just showed for this event. I just did a video, not a very good video though, of the last bonus stages for this guy here. And I got all the achievements except for those stupid ice and water damage. I had 2 of my units actually use ice and water damage. I'm not sure how I didn't get that and clear that. But hopefully I'll post that video up within the next couple days, because we did take that. And I just didn't have the webcam at the time, so it'll look a little different. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And we will see you next time.